Welcome back, everybody. Political Hot Seat live call-in show at 727-8750. I'm here with the County Commissioner Chairman, Dan Schinhofen, who's running for re-election. And we've been talking about a variety of things. We got off to a late start today, so I want to apologize for that. That was a technical problem. But anyway, Dan, Binion property.
The Binion property, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice piece of
price
property.
on it.
Yeah, nice piece of property. I said in the meeting when it was brought up that if it was priced to sell, it would have sold. But it's a nice property. It was brought to us without any backup, so there's no way I was going to vote yes or no. I mean, I don't have enough information. Frank Carboni's asked staff to, in 90 days, to bring back research on it and if it could be used. I said in the meeting at the time, I think that if somebody should do it, it should be the town. But if it is used for anything other than what it's used for now, you got like a fairgrounds, you're going to have a problem with traffic, particularly since we don't own Wilson Road. I mean, there's problems on Wilson Roads with the right-of-way, and it's a small road as it is, so if you start getting 1,000 people going in and out of there, and then Basin, the same thing. It's not wide enough really for that many.
Okay, you brought up fairgrounds. We got a piece of property sitting right outside of town,
and that's where fairgrounds go.
That could probably handle a large variety of people. I said we ought to make it a stop for when the dirty bomb goes off in Las Vegas. People who escape Vegas can get up here and live there.
Yeah, we got 400 acres there.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, and and we did talk briefly about it. I mean, there's 3 great areas for retention basins which would hold back some of the water that floods out Homestead and the south end of the valley. And then you'd still have over 200 acres. The town put in a nice area. It's got 6-foot chain link razor wire all around it. It's 250 parking spots with room probably for another 150. It's got another at least 20 acres. It's all fenced that, you know, I hope that we can move forward on with. Just put grass out there. We need to get power to the well so we have water. Put grass, trees, and a stage, and we got a place to use. Okay, it's ready to go.
What was with the well that
the county drilled the well?
Racetrack wanted to put their
No, the septic. They want to put their not septic. They want to put their sewer plant on the fairgrounds. Okay. And if they did do that, I mean, that's great because then we can tie in and we can do more things with the property. But you don't eat an elephant in one bite. You got to take it a bite at a time. We got over 400 acres. So the first step here is put grass and trees out there, put a stage out there, and then start having events. People see it's being used. There is a well. The county dug the well. It's right next to the property, but there's no power. We need to get power there. So it's going to cost to bring power there, and then it's going to cost to, you know, put some grass, trees, and a stage in, but it's going to be well under $1 million. I mean, I think $1 million is the high side. And then we start there. You start having events. I think people see it. They support it. You know, you start having fundraisers. One of the things I'm going to suggest is sell plaques in front of each tree for $150, and that way you can have people sponsor the trees that go in. Right. So that's how I think of things.
Well, if you're looking towards the future, which you know, the young people need to register to vote. They need to get out and vote because old people like me.
We need informed voters.
We need the young people to look towards the future. Right. You know, like I hear about the theaters. Well, the racetrack might put in the theaters. You're talking about other restaurants, like I really need one. Yeah. But, you know, some people like it. Yeah. But more hotel rooms and things like that. You know, if all that goes in there and if we had a fairgrounds, like right across the road from it, how the two would complement each other, which would help build up business both ways.
There you go.
And the government is not in the business of building businesses because it seems like anything the government tries to operate ends up in the red.
Well, the federal government couldn't run a brothel. They ran that brothel up north into bankruptcy. So,
yeah. A lot of people probably don't even know. I could have used that for a trivia question.
Oh, well, that could have been a good trivia question.
Yeah.
The name of the brothel? Or,
when the federal government...
What business did they run in the ground?
Yeah. Federal government operated brothel in the state of Nevada.
Well, the difference, though, between a privately owned utility and a municipal utility. A privately owned utility has to end up and they have to enter the PUC. And whoever owns it or the board members, you don't get to elect them. Those are the people who own it, okay? And that's fine. Now, if a municipal owned it, like the county owns 17 or 19 systems, anyway, we would answer to NDOT. I mean NDEP. NDEP. Yeah. We'd answer to NDEP, not the PUC. And you get to elect who's running that, basically. And the other thing is, when the private companies want to raise your rates, you got to go down to Vegas to the PUC meeting and then argue it. You know how many people go every time UICN, who's doubled their rates in the last 8 years? How many people have gone? Very few. Maybe 3.
Not many.
You know how many people come in anytime we talk about raising any kind of rates? Lots. Yeah. So it is more local control in that sense. And you know, that we were told we didn't have the expertise to run it, but our guy in Public Works, Mr. Osborne, he's got all the credentials you could want, and has done a good job with the other systems. So anyway, I kind of went off there.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to think of the ways that we look towards the future, because like when I hear there's nothing to do in Pahrump, and I think, well, I'm trying to think of what we had to do when I grew up in Iowa. You know, we did have a movie theater, though.
Yeah, we did too. You know, we had an old Fox theater downtown with the balcony and you know, the great big one.
But you know, outside of that, I can't think of anything more we had than they do here. We got to shovel snow in the winter. I mean, you know, if that's what you consider activities.
Yeah, when we were young, in the summer, you left your house when the sun came up, and you came back when it was dark.
Right.
And that was, you were kids, so you went out and found things to do.
But now everybody, when my parents would say, you got to stay in your bedroom, that was being punished.
Oh.
Nowadays, you can't get the kid to come out of the bedroom.
Right,
you know?
Right.
But, you know, anyway, that's way off the subject. But, you know, once again, I always push for people to register to vote and vote. The young people need to do it, because what our politicians of tomorrow is doing is setting their future. And right now, I don't look at that these old politicians of today is setting a very bright future for the kids of tomorrow, because putting a lot of them in debt, putting a lot of things in debt.
All of us in debt.
And our country, you know, we don't even have the industry. We don't have the jobs. We don't have what we had
let
back
them
when
go
I was a
overseas.
kid. Well, it ain't a matter.
We let them go. We've chased them out. We have one of the highest tax rates for corporations.
Right.
You know?
And, you know, like when I got out of high school, you'd been able to walk right down the street to an International Harvester or Case Company or Ford Tractor or John Deere. They were all right there on the Mississippi River. I mean, you walk down there today, apply, and start working tomorrow night on a good paying job. And
you could work there your whole life and retire.
You go back there to that area I'm from now, and all those things got moss growing over them. And I think nobody ever dreamed of all those places going out of business. I mean, you know, now they make tractors, you know. I've seen places selling tractors. I can't even pronounce the name of the goddamn thing. You know?
Muzu, Shuma, I'm with you. I can't.
The only thing still going is, besides Caterpillar, is John Deere. John Deere's even cut down on their plants, you know. But it's really a crying shame that we've done that, and that's all happened in our generation.
It has, and it's you know, this is where we differ from our colleagues on the left, as they say, but the socialists think that the big company's supposed to share everything they earn with the people who work there, and that's not how capitalism works. You make an investment, you know. I mean, like you said, you've owned a business. I've owned a few businesses. I made the last business I had that failed. The employees, when they walked away from it, they walked away from it. I'm still paying debts from that business.
Right.
So you know that's how that works. You know, I believe in a fair wage, and I think everybody's treated fairly. And I've been critical of unions in government, particularly, and because there's no competition there. So you know, how can you unions did a great job at the turn of the last century. I think they've outlived their usefulness, and those people who would complain about big business need to look at the big union shops, and not the big union shops, the big unions themselves, the union bosses. Look at what they're pulling down. When they complain about the corporations and what their CEOs are taking down, look at what the union bosses are taking down.
Well, see, the thing is I agree that if you or I or anybody out there has the initiative to start up a business, you should be able to start up the business and be left alone. I mean, you know, if you go belly up, you blame nobody but yourself. If you make a success out of it, you should reap the benefits of the success. And there's no reason why I should work 7/24, take a risk on everything I own to create a business that's a success, and then have everybody say, well, gee, you should give part of it to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you know.
I fired a guy once years ago in the landscape company. I fired him, and he was very mad at me, and he said, "You owe me." And I said, "What do I owe you? I gave you a check every Friday, didn't I?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you owe me because I helped you build this. I said, "I paid you every Friday, didn't I?" That's you can be a wage earner, or you can be an entrepreneur, you know, or you can go to college and get a degree and work for the government. Or work for, I mean, you know, yeah. It's about the only place that hires them anymore, isn't it?
All right, well, we got some messages to go to, and we'll be right back after these messages.